I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right.
So many people I talked to at that time for Alipay, they say, this is the stupidest idea you have ever got.
Whenever you learn something, all you're really doing is creating a relationship between two things. So if I want to learn something, say, how do I learn this? It's not figuring things out. That's how most of us think of learning. Learning is not figuring things out. Learning is the creation of a relationship between two things. Something you already know, the known. Something you already know, it's in your head already, you understand it.
Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem.
If you ask a lousy question, you get a lousy answer and a lousy state. So why does this always happen to me? It doesn't always happen to you, but the brain's like a computer. Ask it a question, it'll have to come up with an answer. Because you deserve it, you idiot. Once you break through, then it just becomes a game. The people that are getting your products have not yet broken through in most cases. The breakthrough happens by conditioning your mind every day, by feeding it a role model or story. It's putting yourself in a peak state when you follow through by getting physically strong. It's creating a little ritual of doing a little bit each day, and then you get momentum.
But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through.
It's not what you've gone through, it's where you're going to be going. That everything you have gone through in your life is a down payment on your destiny. So don't quit, don't throw in the towel, don't quit, don't hate your life, because what you've gone through, people need to hear your story, your testimony, your journey, not just pedantic nomenclature and academic jargon, but from your heart. Yeah. What have you gone through, man, woman? Tell us about it. And that sets people, the Bible says, they shall overcome by the power of their testimony. See, we want to be quiet and be ashamed and not talk. Everything's fine. Yeah. I'm wonderful. And all hell's breaking loose in our lives. We got to get real and share with each other how we made it through.
If you don't have your health is valuable. Develop a health plan. A plan that you will follow, because this is the only vehicle that you have to carry you through this experience called life. And you want to take good care of it, because you love you enough. You care enough about you. And that's not easy. It is not easy having a health plan and sticking to it.
And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening. And the opening can come from a conversation, it can come from meeting somebody that inspires you, it can come from an insight, it can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of us, something snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter in a different way. And you know it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says, no more, I'm going to change this, and suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make the shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve.
Oh, you don't need to worry about trying to go into your own business. Forget that. You can't do that. What if you lose everything you've got? That inner conversation that stops you from doing the things you want to do less, don't do that.
Something stops us, something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing. Whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or just maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level, we get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern of just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed.
And if you don't love what you do, if you don't propel to work hard, if you don't persevere through this, he says you're going to quit and give up because it's hard.
You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this.
Don't try and imitate that. Find your own way. Find your own voice. Find your own feelings. And that will give you a unique opportunity.
How many times have you heard people say, this can't be done? It's your job to remove those myths and to get things done.
Don't put a question mark where God has put a period. All of us have things we don't understand. One reason is we can't see the big picture for our lives.
If you want to lay the foundation for a future fortune, you've got to learn more than one skill.
Look at what is the problem and then answer that problem in the unique position that you will solve it. So how are you able to address that problem?
And that if you decide that my life deserves my developing this what I do well, and becoming the best at it and mastering myself and seeing what I have within me, if you decide to drop your buckets where you are and develop your gifts, I grant you, you'll never ever be without. I grant you that your gifts will take you places that will literally amaze you. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide, I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here.
But if you were to take one piece and isolate it, you would think, look at this funny looking piece. It's a mistake. It's not going to fit anywhere. It's an odd shape. There's nothing beautiful about it. But the fact is, that piece has a perfect place. It's already been fitted, planned, designed. When the other pieces come together, it will fit in. The reason you can't see it now is because they all are not in place yet.
To win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics, and endure the betrayal of false friends. Appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, and to leave the world a bit better. And if you don't love what you do, if you don't propel to work hard, if you don't persevere through this, he says you're going to quit and give up because it's hard.
You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this.
Don't try and imitate that. Find your own way. Find your own voice. Find your own feelings. And that will give you a unique opportunity.
How many times have you heard people say, this can't be done? It's your job to remove those myths and to get things done.
Don't put a question mark where God has put a period. All of us have things we don't understand. One reason is we can't see the big picture for our lives.
If you want to lay the foundation for a future fortune, you've got to learn more than one skill.
Look at what is the problem and then answer that problem in the unique position that you will solve it. So how are you able to address that problem?
And that if you decide that my life deserves my developing this what I do well, and becoming the best at it and mastering myself and seeing what I have within me, if you decide to drop your buckets where you are and develop your gifts, I grant you, you'll never ever be without. I grant you that your gifts will take you places that will literally amaze you. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide, I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, They're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here.
When you're asleep, ladies and gentlemen, you need your dreams. I'm here to tell you that when you're wide awake, you also need your dreams. You must have your goals. You'll never make it as a wandering generality. You must become a meaningful specific. If you're going to work tomorrow because that's what you did yesterday, you're not going to be as good tomorrow as you were yesterday, because now you're 2 days older and no closer to the goal which you do not have. You can't make it as a wandering generality. If you've made a commitment, when you hit the rough spots, not if, when you hit the rough spots, your immediate thought is, how can I solve the problem? If you've not made the commitment when you hit the rough spot, whether it's in marriage or education or career or whatever, your first thought is, man, how can I get out of this deal? And so that commitment plays a huge role, and is, you know, some people are about as committed as a kamikaze pilot on his 39th mission. I mean, they don't really take it that seriously.
Unfortunately, a lot of people stand in front of the stove of life and they say, now, stove, you give me some heat, then I'll put some wood in. That ain't the way it works. You got to put something in before you can get anything out. So many times, you know, the employee goes to the employer and says, give me a raise, and I'll start coming to work on time. Or so many times they will come to him and say, make me the boss. Now, I know I haven't been here very long, don't really deserve to be the boss, but I just function better when I am in charge of things. You reward me now, and then I promise you I'll learn what this business is all about later on. Reward me now, and I'll produce later. It doesn't work that way. Can't you just see a youngster in school saying, teacher, if I take a failing grade home, my parents are going to skin me alive. Pass me on this quarter, and next time I'll study more than anybody else. Reward me now, I'll produce later. It doesn't work that way. Can't you just see an old farmer standing out in the fields in October and saying, Lord, I know I didn't plant a thing this year, but if you give me a big crop this year, I'll plant more than anybody next year. It ain't that way, folks. You know, in South Alabama, the wells are deep, and oh, we're glad they're deep, because the deeper the well, the cooler, the cleaner, the sweeter, the purer, the better tasting the water. And isn't that true of life? Isn't it true that if you could become an MD by 6 weeks of summer school, that the rewards would be almost minimal or nothing? And how many patients would you have? Isn't it true that if you become a sales expert in 3 days of a training school, that the rate of pay would go down rather radically? Isn't it true that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly? Until you can learn to do it well. We'll never know how many kids have missed a college scholarship because they didn't study an average of 10 more minutes a day. We will never know how we come so close to promotion, but we grew discouraged and quit too soon.
Almost did not go to the most important sales meeting I would ever have missed. That's that morning I awakened. I'd been up there in Charlotte all day long in a meeting and didn't learn anything. 5 o'clock, the alarm clock goes off, and it was an alarm clock in those days. Now it's an opportunity clock. If I can hear it, that means I've got an opportunity to get up and go. If I can't hear it, that might mean I done got up and gone. Well, anyhow, went off. We were living in a little 3-room apartment above a grocery store. 5 o'clock, weather was horrible. When the clock went off, you know, I looked out and I said, no sane person would ever get in a little Crosley automobile without a heater in weather like this and drive all the way to Charlotte to go to another meeting. So I lay back down. As I lay down, the words of my mother came back to me. Son, if you work for a man, you work for him all the way. You're loyal to him in every way. And if your word is no good, you're no good. I had promised this company, which had taken me 2 months to get the job, that if they would give me the opportunity, I'd be at every sales meeting, I'd be at every training session. And in 2.5 years, despite my lack of success, I'd been at every sales meeting, at every training session, and I'd never even been late. The words of my mother came back. I rolled out of bed and went to the meeting. That's the one that changed my life.
The rule is simple. You do it now. You do it now. In 1950, a war-torn, devastated Japan, a nation which had lost an incredibly high percentage of its young men. Their cities were in ruins, they had been bombed out, but in 1950, they got together, they meaning industry and government got together and set a goal. The goal was we're going to be the #1 nation in the world during the 1950s in the production of textiles. In 1959, ladies and gentlemen, they accomplished that objective. In 1960, they set another goal. We're going to be the #1 nation in the world in the production of steel. Now, when you understand there's no iron ore in Japan of any significance, there's no coal of any significance there, we're going to be the #1 nation in the world in the production of steel, it seemed like an absurd goal, and yet they reached their objectives. They had taken all of the steps. In 1970, the Japanese set another goal. They said during the 70s, we'll be the #1 nation in the world in the production of automobiles. They missed it, folks. 1 year. It took them until 1980. In 1980, they set another goal, and this time their goal was, we're going to be the #1 nation in the world in the production of computers and electronics. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, you absolutely must have those goals.
You need to read at least 20 minutes every day. Now, I spend about 2 hours a day or more, but you got to understand, this is my business, this is my life, this is my profession. I got to do it. Fortunately, I just absolutely love to do it. But 20 minutes a day will make a dramatic difference. Now, obviously, I'm talking about reading something good, powerful, positive, biographies, autobiographies, self-help books, motivational books, books about your business, your profession, the industry of which you are a part, books about human nature, how to deal with people. If you are an average reader, that's 220 words a minute. If you will just read 20 minutes a day, at the end of the year, you will have read 20 200-page books. That is 18 more than the average American reads in a year's time. That will give you a colossal advantage in whatever it is that you're doing.
I listened to the people who were successful in selling that product. I would learn new things from different ones, new approaches, and that's where you must be a constant student. A lot of people are afraid to try anything new because they are afraid that they will be embarrassed until they get good at it. Well, one of my favorite sayings is, the most important thing you can do is to understand that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly.
What do you mean by that?
Until you can learn to do it well. My first few sales calls were pathetic. But I knew it was worth doing, so I kept after it, you know. My first few speeches were a disaster, but I believed that I could develop into that, so I kept at it until I could do it effectively. And all skills are exactly the same way. No running back that sets the records ever set a record the first time he picked up a football. Sure. And you can go right down the line with that. So if it's worth doing and you believe in it, go ahead and fail. And the more times you fail, the closer you get into success, because you should be learning on every simple thing that you do.
I can't explain why I shine and no one else shines. I think everybody shines in different things. And a lot of things I can't do. I can't play basketball like every other black person in America.
You were at one point, sleeping on a bench in Marin City, California.
Yes. I call it ghetto gospel. That's when people, you know, look and see something in you, and they might give something, don't know why they're doing it, but they just do it. So whatever I do, good or bad, you know, it's got me out of where I was. It's got me out of the jaws of death. So now that I'm out of the jaws of death, I don't mind all the foggy breath from the people who don't like what I said to get out of there. I'm just happy I'm not there anymore. I want when they see me, they know that every day when I'm breathing, it's for us to go farther. You know, every time I speak, I want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I speak, I want to shiver. You know, I don't want them to be like, they know what I'm going to say because it's polite. They know what I'm going to say. And even if I get in trouble, you know what I'm saying? Ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm going to rule the world or I'm going to change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us. If God give me breath for 20 more years, I see myself changing the world. Because my thought patterns are so opposite of what's the norm. So I have to change the world, or I have to be changed by the world. Everybody's getting pimped. Whether you work a 9 to 5 or whether you work for yourself, you're getting pimped by somebody. That's not the crime. The crime is how long you allow yourself to get pimped. You have to come up. Everything is a come up. Everything is a struggle. You start from the bottom, working to the top. I never got a chance to leisurely study acting with great teachers and, you know, fine-tune my craft. What I did do, though, was throw myself into the streets and learn as many experiences as I could. So now that I have the opportunity now to relax, exhale, and actually work on the craft, I have so many things to draw from, and it makes it where I'm comfortable now with this, where I wasn't doing those other movies. It was just like a hobby. Now I'm an actor, and I don't want anybody to take that from me. We only got 2 weeks to do this whole album, complete it, mix it down and everything. We don't have time or the luxury to spend all of this time doing one song. We don't have it. I did my whole album like 3 songs a day. We gotta stand up at some point and just stop stuttering. Like Sister Soldier says, I give a maximum props. Stop stuttering, stop knee buckling, and just say what you mean and say it loud. So everybody here, you can only be wrong once. But all this cowardly lying, standing behind the speaker stuff, we gotta come out and say what we gotta say. I have no patience for anybody that doubts me. None. At all. It's too hard out here. I have no fear. I have only ambition, and I want mine, and I will do anything to protect and feed my family. I don't want anybody to follow me whatsoever. I don't want to argue. What I want you to do is to listen.
Tupac, your life has been marred by considerable pain. Do you think you'll ever get to the point where you can live a normal, happy life?
No, but I have to make the life that I do live as happy as I can and try to do the best with what I have. We can do anything. We can do that. I'm not saying this, I gotta say this again, it's not black against white. When I say we, it's the good against evil. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by we can take anything we want. We can have anything because it belongs to you. If you're right and you got good on your side, I really truly believe that nothing can stop you.
And I feel like if you walk by a street and you was walking on concrete and you saw a rose growing out of concrete, even if it had messed up petals and it was a little, to the side, you would marvel at just seeing a rose grow through concrete. So why is it that when you see some ghetto kid grow out of all of the dirtiest circumstances and he can talk and he can sit across from you, make you smile, make you cry, make you laugh, all you can talk about is my dirty rose, my dirty stems, and how I'm leaning crooked to the side. You can't even see that I came up out of that.
Because this world is such a, and when I say this world, I mean it. I don't mean in an ideal sense. I mean in every day, every little thing you do. It's such a, gimme, gimme, gimme. Everybody back off. Everybody's like, you taught that from school, everywhere. Big business, if you want to be successful, you want to be like Trump, gimme, 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 push, 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 step, 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 crush, crush, crush. That's how it all is. And it's like, nobody ever stopped. Just, I feel like, instead of us just being like, slavery's bad, slavery's down, bad whitey, bad whitey. I mean, all right, let's stop that. And everybody's smart enough to know that, we've been slighted and we want ours. And I don't mean by like ours, 40 acres and a mule, because we passed that. But we need help. For us to be on our own 2 feet, us meaning youth or us meaning black people, whatever you want to take it for us to be on our own 2 feet, we do need help. Because we have been here, we have been a good friend. If you want to make it a relationship type thing, we have been there, and now we deserve our payback. It's like you got a friend that you don't never look out for. You dressed up in jewels. Now America's got jewels, and they paid and everything, and they lending money to everybody except us. And it's like, everybody need a little help on their way to being, self-reliant. If this is truly a melting pot in the country where we care about it, and Lady Liberty got a hand like this, she really loves us, then we really need to be like that. And it needs to be the black kids, and if there's a white person who got money, then he need to help them. He need to help black kids, Mexican kids, Korean kids, whatever. But it need to be real. And it need to be before we all die, and then you say, oh, I made a mistake. We should have gave them some money. We really should have helped these folks. It's gonna be too late, you know what I'm saying? And then that's when you gotta pay your own karma. And that's when God make you punish, when God punishes you. Because I feel like, it's too much money here. Nobody should be hitting lotto for 36 million and we got people starving in the streets. That is not idealistic, that's just real. That is just stupid. There's no way Michael Jackson should have, or whoever Jackson, should have $1,000,000 billion and then there's people starving. There's no way. There's no way that these people should own planes and their people don't have houses, apartments, shacks, drawers, pants. I know you're rich. I know you got $40 billion, but can you just keep it to one house? You only need one house. And if you only got 2 kids, can you just keep it to 2 rooms? Why have 52 rooms and you know there's somebody with no room? It just don't make sense to me. It don't. And then these people celebrate Christmas. They got big trees, huge trees, all the little trimmings. Everybody got gifts, and then somebody's starving. And they're having a white Christmas. They're having a great Christmas, eggnog and the whole 9. That's not fair to me. I think that when there's hopelessness, people revolt. Because it's like there's nothing that's like, it's like we're going, is America gonna help us ever? Because we know for a long time they haven't. Are they ever? And it's like all these things are showing us no. And there's there's somebody going, no, they're not gonna help you. No, they're not gonna help you. And then of course, we seeing, no, they're not helping us. All BS aside, it all comes down to we got to survive. Even warriors put their spears down on Sundays. We got to survive here in this country. Because I'm not going back to Africa. We got to survive here. For us to survive here, white folks, black folks, Korean folks, Mexican folks, Puerto Ricans, we got to understand each other. gotta take a bigger chance. And when I say Americans, people think I'm talking about Uncle Sam. I mean like actually Uncle Sam with the gray hair and the flag. I mean you, the guy, you know, you, the mechanic, wherever, you. I mean, you need to do something. You need to check yourself and see how racist you are. You know what I'm saying? It's real.
You are where you are today, in part because of what you've been saying about yourself. Words are like seeds. When you speak something out, you give life to what you're saying. If you continue to say it, eventually that can become a reality. Whether you realize it or not, you are prophesying your future. And this is great when we're saying things like, I'm blessed, I'm strong, I will accomplish my dreams, I'm coming out of debt. That's not just being positive, you are prophesying victory, prophesying success, prophesying new levels. Your life will move in the direction of your words. But too many people go around prophesying just the opposite. I never get any good breaks. I'll never get back in shape. Business is slow. I'll probably get laid off. Flu season is here. I always get it. They don't realize they are prophesying defeat. It's just like they're calling in bad breaks, mediocrity, lack. The scripture says we will eat the fruit of our words. You are planting seeds when you talk. At some point, you're going to eat that fruit. My challenge is make sure you're planting the right kind of seeds. If you want apples, you have to sow apple seeds. If you want oranges, you can't plant cactus seeds, poison ivy seeds, mushroom seeds. You're going to reap fruit from the exact seeds that you've been sowing. In other words, you can't talk negative and expect to live a positive life. You can't talk defeat and expect to have victory. You can't talk lack, not enough, can't afford it, never get ahead, and expect to have abundance. If you have a poor mouth, you're going to have a poor life. If you don't like what you're seeing, start sowing some different seeds. Instead of saying, I'll never get out of debt, I'll never rise any higher. No, I will lend and not borrow. Whatever I touch prospers and succeeds. I'm coming into overflow, into more than enough. Start sowing seeds of increase, seeds of abundance. No more, I'll never accomplish my dreams. Blessings are chasing me down. The right people are searching me out. New opportunities, new levels are in my future. If you keep talking like that, you'll reap a harvest of good things. With our tongue, we can bless our life or we can curse our life. Many people don't realize with their words, they're cursing their future. Every time you say, I never get any good breaks, you just cursed your life. I'll never be able to afford that nice house. I'll never break this addiction. I'll never meet the right person. No, stop cursing your future. Sometimes the enemy doesn't have to defeat us. We defeat ourselves. Pay attention to what you're saying. Are you blessing your life or are you cursing it? Why don't you stop criticizing yourself? Talking about all the things you don't like. How you're getting too old and too wrinkled, too this, too that. Stop cursing your life and start blessing your life. Start calling yourself healthy, strong, talented, beautiful, young. Every morning before you leave the house, look in the mirror and say, good morning, you good-looking thing. Your words can trip you. What you say can cause you to stumble. It can keep you from your potential. You're not snared by what you think. Negative thoughts come to us all. When you speak them out, you give them life. That's when they become a reality. When you say, I'll never get back in shape, it becomes more difficult. You just made it harder. When you say, I never get any good breaks, that stops the favor that was ordained for you. If you say, I'm not that talented, I don't have a good personality, that is setting the limits for your life. That is calling in mediocrity. You may have been snared in the past, trapped by your words, but I believe this is a new day. I declare you're coming out of that trap. Every chain is being loosed. Every stronghold is coming down. No weapon formed against you is going to prosper. Now you got to do your part. Start speaking victory over your life. Speak increase. Be bold to call in those things you're dreaming about, those things you're believing for. Don't use your words to describe the situation. Use your words to change the situation. The negative thoughts will come. The key is to not say them. A thought will die stillborn if you don't speak it. You may feel worried. You may seem like it's never going to happen, but take no thought saying. Don't verbalize it. Don't get trapped by your words. It's one thing to think that it's impossible, but when you start telling people it's impossible, it takes on a whole new meaning. You may think, I'll never break this illness. I'll never get well. I'll never meet the right person. Those thoughts come to all of us. You can't stop that. My challenge is don't give them life by speaking them out. Don't go call your friends and tell them how it's not going to happen. In the tough times, you have to especially be on guard. It's very tempting to vent your frustration. Tell people how the loan didn't go through, how bad the medical report was, how these people just didn't treat you right. But continually talking about the problem, that's not only going to make you more discouraged, but you're giving that problem more life. You're making it bigger. Turn it around. Don't talk about the problem, talk about the promise. See, in life, there are always two voices vying for your attention. The voice of faith and the voice of defeat. You'll hear a voice saying, like I did, problem's too big. It's not going to work out. Just accept it. You'll be tempted to worry, to be negative, to complain. But if you listen carefully, you'll hear another voice, the voice of faith, saying, favor is coming, healing is coming, breakthroughs are coming. One voice will tell you, you've reached your limits. You've gone as far as you can. You don't have what it takes. The other voice, you are well able. You can do all things through Christ. Your best days are still in front of you. Now here's the beauty. You get to choose which voice comes to life. The way you do it is by what you speak. When you verbalize that thought, you're giving it the right to come to pass. If you go around saying, the problem's too big, I'll never get well, you are agreeing with the wrong voice. The other voice may seem louder, but you can override it. You can take away all of its power by choosing the voice of faith. You have to dig your heels in and say, I am not giving life to any more defeat. I am not speaking lack. I'm not speaking sickness. I'm not speaking mediocrity, not enough. I'm going to choose the voice of faith. It says I'm strong, I'm healthy, I'm blessed, I'm favored. I am a victor, not a victim. Don't let your mind become conditioned for mediocrity. Don't let that change who you really are. Sometimes people will try to put us in a box and tell us things like, you can't start that business. You don't have the resources. You'll never afford a nice place to live, never get well, never meet the right person. Because their thinking is limited, they'll try to put their limitations on you. You have to put your foot down and say, I refuse to be mediocre because people around me are mediocre. I refuse to be addicted, depressed, have low expectation. I know I'm a barrier breaker. I'm gonna set a new standard. It starts in our thinking. Nothing will change until you make up your mind you are not going to accept mediocrity. We all have had negative things happen to us. People did us wrong. The company laid us off. A clerk was rude to us. It's easy to go through life offended, in self-pity, blaming others, blaming ourselves. And because we're always looking back, reliving the negative, we end up carrying around all this baggage that weighs us down. One of the best things we can learn to do is drop it. Let it go.
Whether it happened 20 years ago or 20 minutes ago, don't carry negative baggage from yesterday into today. You won't live a victorious life if you're always reliving what didn't work out, who hurt you, the mistakes you've made. The reason it's called the past is because it's over. It's done, it's history. Now do your part and let it go. They betrayed me. They walked away, broke my heart. That's why I'm bitter. That's why I'm upset. Oh, they hurt you once. Don't let them continue to hurt you by always thinking about it. As long as you're dwelling on that, it's going to keep you from the new things. The key is what we do in our times of pain. Pain will change us. Heartache, loss, disappointments, they don't leave us the same. If you go through a divorce, a legal battle, a friend betrays you, eventually that will pass. You'll get through it, but you will be different. Now, how the pain changes you is up to you. You can come out bitter, or you can come out better. You can come out with a chip on your shoulder, or you can come out stronger with a greater confidence. You can come out defeated, giving up on your dreams, or you can come out with a new passion, a new fire, excited about the new opportunities in front of you. All of us experience pain. My challenge, don't just go through it, grow through it. That difficulty is an opportunity to get stronger, to develop character, to gain new confidence. Anybody can give up. Anybody can let it overwhelm you. But you know what that's doing? Wasting your pain. That pain is not there to stop you. It's there to prepare you, to increase you, to develop you.